Good evening, race fans. Welcome here to Michigan International Speedway for tonight's Michigan 180. My name is Robert Hill Jr. Joining me in the booth is Alayton Norgard and Jesse Rasimas. Guys, how we doing tonight?
Doing well, Robert. Looking forward to seeing these guys on a 2-miler this time.
Yeah, we'll see what kind of action we can get out of these guys today on a super speedway. Be kind of fun to watch.
Should be an interesting one here this evening as we'll take a quick look at the race format. 90 laps here tonight, 4 sets of tires, so that's 1 set on the cars and 3 sets in the pit area. Should be ample tire sets available for these guys here tonight. As we're going to go ahead and take a look at the starting grid, and well, folks, look who it is on the pole. Once again, it's going to be William White rolling off on the pole alongside JP Phillips as... Oops, tried to get away from us there. Corey Abbott going to roll off in 3rd. Frank Fody to his outside in 4th. Michael Hosick 5th. Trey Holmes 6th. Andrew Rucker in 7th. Dylan Javier 8th. Ray Bracey 9th. Andrew Hardcastle going to round out the top 10. A great qualifying effort for both Dylan Javier and Andrew Hardcastle to qualify inside the top 10 here tonight. Will be interesting to see what they can do as this race goes along. Alayton, take us through to position number 20.
I've got Kendall Noah Player with another great qualifying run in 11th. Kel Pocock in 12th. Dave Carpenter, that's a good run for him, in 13th. Justin Vandermeer in 14th. Dusty Dewar in 15th, Thomas Coonan starting in 16th, Harrison Talon in 17th. In 18th, we got Caleb Pecumer, David Westergreen in 19th, and Gavin Higgins in 20th.
Rolling off 21st, you got Brent Jones. 22nd, Jeff Ryan. 23rd, Dave Huckleberry. 24th, you got Jada Rasimas. 25th, Connor Thompson. 26th, Josh Clark. Kyle Hanshaw will be rolling off 27th. Mitch Shavir, 28th. Austin and Abnett, 29th. Dominic Wright, 30th. Austin Sal, I might have pronounced that wrong, 31st. And Tyler Dixon rolling off 32nd.
The rest of your starting lineup tonight: Sam Boutwell going to start 33rd. Mark Robilas to his outside in 34th. Shea Mitchell, 35th. Tommy Ryan, one of the quickest cars in practice tonight, going to start 36th. Brett Baldeck, 37th. Neil Rutt, 38th. And Josh Osborne going to round out the field in 39th. Guys, let's quickly get to some race picks. We'll start with Jesse tonight. Jesse, who do you got taking the win here this evening?
I think we're going to go green, so I'm going to have to go with a guy that knows how to run longer runs and go with Trey Holmes.
Trey Holmes, a very solid pick there for Jesse here tonight. Alayton, who do you got?
I'm going to add the disclaimer that I did this pick before his qualifying lap. JP Phillips, I think he's going to do well. He beat me here at the end of last season.
Solid pick there with JP Phillips. I'm going to go with the driver of the number 7 machine tonight, Bojo. Ray Bracey going to get it done here at Michigan. As we're underway, William White going to lead us down into turn number 1 for the first time this evening. He's got his Abbott Motorsports teammate Corey Abbott just behind him. JP Phillips up on the high side. Frank Fody up there as well. Michael Hosick up inside that top 5. He's doing a little bit of an early dance here with these guys as they work their way down the back straightaway. White clears Phillips. Phillips takes a look to the bottom, not quite able to get there that time. As you see, Andrew Hardcastle, he's working the high lane a little bit further back himself, and I believe that to be Dylan Javier, 2 of the early comers up there on the high lane. We'll see how that works out for them. But lap number 1 going to go to William White.
Yeah, these cars are running a little tight here tonight with the temperature of the track being pretty low. So it's going to be a big challenge for these guys to keep the right front under them and intact tonight.
Now, one thing you mentioned was the track temperature. Just quickly here, folks, track temp 96 degrees Fahrenheit, ambient temperature of 77. So not overly high here in the early goings of this one at Michigan, as we see a little bit of a battle back here behind Trey Holmes. That's Kendall Noah Player battling it out with Andrew Hardcastle. Hardcastle up top, Player on the bottom, 3 wide behind them. Higgins on the inside. Coonan coming up through the middle. Pocock up on the high side as they work their way off of turn number 2 this time. Looks like we're going to get back to double file, but not before Cale Pocock has a little bit of a kiss with the outside wall. He's gathered it up, does continue on as we've got Andrew Hardcastle down to the inside of Trey Holmes. Now Holmes back to 10th. Pocock up to the high side, going to try to get a run on the rear end of the Andrew Hardcastle machine. Not quite able to get there that time. Is Vandermeer now to the outside of Higgins, and down on the inside, Harrison Talon in that 3 wide fight.
Yeah, Kendall Noah Player actually clipped the apron there in 3 and 4. He's fallen back a little bit. He had a pretty good save, kept down on the apron until he gathered it back up.
Yeah,
that was some pretty tight racing.
Go ahead.
Pretty tight racing on that last lap between Thomas Coonan and Gavin Higgins. I was a little afraid of what was going to happen there, but they kept it clean and still green tonight.
Yeah, green so far here on lap number 4. You mentioned the tight racing that we saw with Gavin Higgins and Thomas Coonan. Coonan kind of known to be one of those guys that'll lean on your door just a little bit more than you might hope for out here on these racetracks. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And so far, so good. Out front, William White still leads the way over JP Phillips. Not by much. Phillips about a 10th and a half back. Corey Abbott holding on to 3rd. Dylan Javier up in 4th ahead of Ray Bracey. These 2 drivers having a pretty good run early on. Andrew Rucker, another guy having a pretty solid opening run here, currently holding on to that 7th spot as he fights just behind Frank Fody. And just a quick note, last season here at Michigan, your race winner was a guy that's starting this one way in the back as Austin Sally up into the outside wall. We'll get back to my note in a minute here. Sally into the wall, gathers it up. He's going to get passed by Mark Rabilis. But last season's winner here at Michigan was Tommy Ryan, and he has started deep in the field here tonight. 2nd place finisher in that one was JP Phillips. And rounding out the podium, Alayton, that was you, finishing 3rd. So what's some of the keys to success here tonight in Michigan?
You got to keep that right front intact and try not to burn up the rears too much. I don't think the rears are going to be much of an issue tonight with the track temp being what it is, but the car really tightens up as the run continues. So not pushing that too hard, keeping that speed mid-corner is going to be the biggest factor.
Now, Jesse, obviously, I know you've got a fair bit of experience here as well. What do you think these drivers are going to have to keep their eyes open for as this one goes along?
Yeah, it kind of just keeping control of your right front. As the run goes on and then in a draft, the speeds are just carrying too much. And I know you're on the throttle a lot more here in these cars than you are off the throttle. So you're going to see a lot of guys pushing up towards the middle part of the run, destroying the right front. So whoever can manage that the best is probably going to be up in the front at the end.
Now, I want to give a quick shout out to one of the drivers in the field here tonight. We unfortunately saw him in the wall not too long ago. Austin Sally, just this past weekend, he got engaged, gentlemen. So congratulations to him and his fiancee Jada. They're gonna be getting married. So pretty exciting times.
Yeah, congratulations to Austin. And he did get in the wall. He is lucky, though, he didn't get any damage from that I can see. So that's another thing that will really hurt you here. If you get in the wall and crinkle in that right front, your straight line speed is really going to suffer.
No, you're definitely right on that. As we look at Frank Fody, he dove down to the inside of Corey Abbott. Abbott, one of those guys that's fallen back here a little bit, losing a couple spots. Looks like he might lose another one as Frank Fody going to take position number 5. Cale Pocock just behind Corey Abbott as well. He's trying to poke it in there, trying to get that spot from the 21 machine. Just taking a look here, 10 laps in, your biggest mover of the race is Gavin Higgins. He's up 10 spots on the day, started back in the 20th spot, currently running up there around that 10th position. So good run here so far for the neighbor Pete favorite in that 20 of Gavin Higgins.
Corey was side by side with Frank Foti for a while there. I'm kind of wondering if it would be better to just concede a place and stay single file at this point, because the more you fight on top of the track, the more you're going to burn up your tires. And if you save them better than the person trying to pass you, that's going to be a much easier pass later in the run.
Just looking at a couple battles throughout the field here, we see Harrison Talon side by side with Josh Clark. That's Clark up on the high side in the Buc-ee's number 28 car. Man, Buc-ee's, if you've never been, is basically heaven on earth. Those cut brisket sandwiches, the beaver nuggets or whatever they call them, and all the good stuff that Buc-ee's has to offer. Definitely check it out as Josh Clark dives down to the inside of Harrison Talon here, headed towards turn number 1. Just up ahead of them here, you see Dustin Dewar and Trey Holmes battling for position as well. That's Holmes up top, Dewar on the bottom. They're chasing down David Westergreen, who's in a battle with Andrew Hardcastle. They're chasing down Gavin Higgins, Thomas Coonan up the road, battling with Ray Bracey. Up the road from them is a 4-car dance between Corey Abbott, Frank Foti, Cale Pocock, and Dylan Javier. So early battles all throughout the field here tonight, as these drivers having a good time so far here at Michigan.
Yeah, it's looking like William has managed to open up a bit more of a gap over JP. He's still maintaining a bit more speed than just about everyone here so far. There are a few drivers, the last lap, Andrew Rucker, Ray Bracey, Thomas Kuhn, and Gavin Higgins, that did run a faster lap time, but not even a tenth faster. So once again, we're seeing Will run up front and maintain his speed just about better than anyone on track, which is, once again, pretty impressive.
What we've seen William White do so far this season has been nothing short of impressive, and I think the biggest stat that stands out to me is probably the laps led so far this season. Obviously, William 3 wins, now 3 poles as well in just 4 races. We don't know the results of this one yet. We'll see in just a little bit. But you look at the laps led so far this season, William White has led 79% of the laps, 142 laps led for the driver out of the University of Chichester, as he's got 131 more laps led than the next closest, which is Jaden Rasimas with 11 laps led on the season, or 7% of the total laps. So that's pretty remarkable.
Yeah, he has led every single lap not at a super speedway. Last week at Atlanta is the only race where someone else has led a lap, including tonight so far. So I don't know what these guys are going to do about this, but they've got to figure something out, because we can't have Will win every single week here.
Yeah, he seems to have some bad luck with his connection when he gets like in the middle of the pack. So maybe that's what they need to do, is try to force him towards the middle and see what they can do then.
Maybe we'll have to throw some sort of like a challenge or something in there for William White. Have him start at the rear of the field or on pit road or something, and see how he works his way up through the field, as we see Brent Jones way up the racetrack there in the 89 machine. There's Jeff Ryan just behind him, Dominic Wright there as well, as is Caleb Pecumer. Pecumer, one of those Lake Norman Motorsports drivers, doing a nice job here so far this evening. Front-running Lake Norman car is Frank Foti in car number 41 here, up in that 7th position. They've got quite a few cars, so we'll keep an eye on them throughout the evening. And just a driver to note here, he's had a very quiet run so far, but a very good run. Andrew Rucker up into position number 3. He's chasing down JP Phillips and William White, as he holds on to that 3rd spot by about 0.4 of a second over fourth place Cale Pocock. So good run so far for the DeWalt Tools number 64 of Andrew Rucker.
Yeah, he's one of those cars that was matching pace with William. Not quite as much these past couple laps, but still running quicker than most of the field, which is... Rucker, to me, has a history of burning up his tires, so he's definitely improving on that here this season, I think.
Yeah, I'm just rolling through, just watching some of these battles. Right around a Gavin Higgins machine. They keep trying to shoot for 3 wide occasionally, so it'll be a pretty interesting one to watch here for a couple laps, see what happens.
The one thing I'm watching with that battle is the proximity of the Thomas Coonan machine to that left rear of Gavin Higgins. A couple times here so far, Thomas has gotten really close to the left rear of the Gavin car, and I thought potentially we might see a little bit of chaos between those guys, but looks like they're going to be a-okay as Gavin Higgins takes to the way high part of the racetrack. Don't know if that was by choice at this point, as he's chasing down Ray Bracey and Dylan Javier. The tires probably starting to go a little bit for some of these guys, coming up on 20 laps into this one. So we're going to have to watch and see who has saved those tires and who has used and abused their American racers here tonight. Is it American racers or General Tires? I think it's General Tires on
General
these cars.
Tires
Yeah,
in
there
New
we
York.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had seen Corey fall back a few spots earlier in the race, but he's made those places back now, getting back around Dylan Javier and Ray Bracey, and now he's starting to open up a gap on them. So I think he might have just been backing off a bit and saving some tire for later in the run.
Another guy to watch for that will be Trey Holmes in the 18 car, usually one of those that does save tires rather well, so we'll see how he works his way back up through the field. It's just ahead of him here, a battle between Andrew Hardcastle and Frank Foti. Frank was one of those guys we saw in the top 5 just a handful laps ago, now looking to potentially fall out of the top 10. So Frank Foti on the negative side of the tire saving here today.
I just saw Thomas Coonan push up the track into Ray Bracey going through turn 2 there, and got loose through the corner but held on to it. But like you were saying earlier, he tends to get really close to the cars around him. Doesn't make contact usually, but with neck code that can very quickly go bad on him, and has definitely bitten him in other series in the past.
Looks like we have our first taker on pit road. Maybe, yeah, make that our first taker only. Tyler Dixon gonna head down pit road. Looks like night over for the driver of this number 79 machine as well. A quick exit as soon as he hit pit lane. Ooh, 3 wide.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect to see actual pit stops until at least lap 30. These cars have 44, 45-ish laps of fuel, 45 if you're kind of stretching it. So it's possible to make it on one stop, but I think it would be interesting to see someone try a 2-stopper if we go green the entire way.
Yeah, it'll definitely be interesting to see the strategies that do come into play for these guys. As we head down the backstretch, 3 wide action does continue here. Andrew Hardcastle on the outside, Dylan Javier, the meat and the sandwich, up through the middle. Trey Holmes down on the bottom. Now Thomas Coonan going to be in this fight as well, as you see just behind them, David Westergreen and Frank Foti. If I'm Westergreen, I'm potentially going to back off of this a little bit. I'm seeing some bumpers come into play with these guys, and as we all know, guys, the front bumpers on these ARCA cars really act like a wedge, and you don't want to be on the other side of that wedge.
But it kind of looks like that this battle might actually get a little bit bigger here in the next coming laps, because it looks like Hossack and crew are catching up to that pack as well.
And they're about about to swallow up a couple cars ahead of them, so it's definitely gonna be a big grouping. We'll hop out to the blimp cam here, and I mean, you could count a dozen cars here in this camera shot, from Thomas Coonan all the way back to Brent Jones, and that's a difference, guys, of 10 positions. So definitely a lot of cars out here in close proximity. One thing goes wrong and we're talking about a totally different story here. As Harrison Talon into the outside wall, Harry in the Red Bull #1 car for Fueled Up Racing sends it up into the outside wall. As he rolls by our camera here, the car does appear to be okay, so he should be able to continue on without too many issues. But if he makes a habit of hitting that outside wall, it could certainly create some damage that will not be too friendly aboard these ARCA cars.
One thing I'm noticing as I'm taking a watch of all these guys right now, it seems like a lot of these guys are getting loose rather than burning up the right front. So maybe things changed since the last time I ran ARCA here in Michigan, and now it's the right rear that gets heavily abused.
It's definitely a good observation there, as you know, these guys have really been battling loose all day long. I think there's this is getting real tight. Gavin Higgins, Thomas Coonan absolutely pushing up on the Gavin Higgins machine. They're gonna keep making contact down the front straightaway. That RevLimit Workshop #68 of Thomas Coonan just really wants to work his way up towards that top 5.
Yeah, I'm just concerned that he's trying to force the issue a bit too much and is not going to have the tire to sustain the push. He was clear of Gavin Higgins, so Gavin has caught up to him and is going for the pass now. So he's not quite going in the direction that he wants to, I think.
Just something to note there coming off of turn 2 before that was Andrew Rucker kind of got on the wall and stacked the field up a little bit. And then he had Corey Abbott actually all the way down on the apron trying to get by him cleanly. As he gets to the wall again.
Yeah, issues continuing here for
now.
Rucker. Look at that right front, guys. You can see it protruding from the side of that body on the #64 machine. I don't think Andrew Rucker's too far away from a pit stop. Not by choice, but by necessity here, is he's got some pretty hefty damage on that car.
Yeah, the field's going to eat him up here pretty quick, especially with right front damage. He's going to lose all that speed on the straightaways.
And just look behind him, that freight train's going to come through. You said the field's going to get him. He's not really going to have anywhere to go except backwards, as they're going to work their way by probably pretty quickly.
Yeah, he's going to be praying for a yellow now, because that's the only way his car is going to be competitive for the rest of this race. As long as it stays green, he can't repair that damage, and he will not be able to match the same speeds as these guys around him.
Quick swap for third there. Corey Abbott by Cale Pocock. Move Abbott onto the podium here. Pocock to 4th. Coonan now to 5th, as Rucker about to get passed by Gavin Higgins as well. And I don't think Andrew's going to have anything here for Gavin in that #20 cars. Like we said, the damage just really not going to help him out too much here. As let's take a look a little bit further back in the field, see what we got going on. We have a battle between Kendall Noah Player and Mark Robilas. And guys, Kendall was very high up in that top 10 not too long ago. Well, I guess about 20 laps or so ago now. And he finds himself all the way back in 32nd, just behind Neil Rutt and just ahead of Mark Robilas. So very surprising to see how far Kendall has fallen through the field.
Yeah, he had gotten onto the apron and lost a bunch of spots pretty early on, but I think it looks like he's struggling with tires at this point, because he is just not able to match the pace of any of these other cars right now.
Yeah, he fell back right after he kind of got loose, and 3 and 4 kind of caught it on the apron. So I'm wondering if he burned up his tires, just trying to keep control of it, and kind of made a rear angry at him there.
So taking a quick look up front, William White leads the way by about a second and a quarter over JP Phillips. Phillips second, Corey Abbott third. He's got Cale Pocock just behind him. Thomas Coonan up to fifth. Gavin Higgins, as he makes contact with Trey Holmes, that sent the Higgins car slightly sideways, but able to gather it up and continues on. Trey Holmes to sixth, Higgins back to seventh. Ray Bracey holding on to that 8th spot here. Andrew Hardcastle 9th. Andrew Rucker back to 10th, and it's Harrison Talon, Frank Fody, Jeff Ryan, Michael Hossig, and David Westergreen, your top 15. Josh Clark, Justin Vandermarl, Brent Jones, Tommy Ryan, Dylan Habir, the top 20. Followed by Dusty Dewar, Dave Carpenter, Dominic Wright, Caleb Pecumer, and Jaden Rasimas, the top 25. Austin and Abbott, Sam Boutwell, Connor Thompson, Kyle Hanshaw, Mitch Avere, the top 30. Then it's Neil Rutt, Kendall Noah Player, Mark Robilas, Shea Mitchell, and Dave Huckleberry, the top 35. And the rest of the drivers currently out on the racetrack: Austin Sally and Josh Osborne. Brett Baldeck and Tyler Dixon both currently pit side.
In addition to Kendall Miller Player, I think the next car that is suffering the most right now is probably Dylan Javier. He has just been free falling through the pack. He was deep in the top 10 around lap 10, and now 20 laps later he is about to fall into 21st.
So I'm hearing a bunch of drivers actually say that they're getting tight off corner exit now, and they're actually slapping the wall. So we had Frank Fody, we had Wester Green, Rucker, all out of two, pretty much on the same lap, all hit the wall.
So it's definitely starting to get tight for these guys. As we watch Frank Fody, you mentioned him. He's currently holding on to the 11th spot, just behind Harrison Talon, who rounds out our top 10 drivers. Biggest mover so far, this is really of no surprise to me. Tommy Ryan up to that 17th position. Of course, we mentioned that Ryan had a really strong run here last season in the what was the Pit Pass Network ARCA series, of course picking up the victory in this race, which was our championship finale. Guys, I don't remember who the champion was in the 2024 B season. Does anyone have any idea?
Whoever it was must have been a pretty great driver.
Who won that? I don't even remember, honestly.
Great driver, but not very memorable, I guess.
Alayton Norgard, the 2024 B champion, as Josh Clark goes pit side.
A little interesting tidbit if you want to roll around inside of William White's car with some audio. Seems like he's doing some fuel saving here entering the corners.
And we will do just that. We're going to do a lap on board the William White machine here. So take a listen, watch the steering, and ride on board with old Billy Blanco. So that was a lap on board there with William White. Jesse, you pointed out ahead of time. Why don't you tell us kind of what you saw in that lap on board with Will?
I mean, he's kind of clutching it on the entry into the corners, bringing the car down to speed just on aero drag. He's just doing some fuel saving, trying to stretch this fuel as long as he can, but he seems to be the only driver doing that, and he's still maintaining the gap, which is kind of interesting.
Definitely impressive to see what William has been able to do here so far tonight in race number 4 of the RevLimit Workshop Development Series presented by Pit Pass Network. Of course, RevLimit Workshop, a great partner here of the Elite Racing League, your series sponsor here tonight. And of course, tonight's race broadcast is brought to you by RevLimit Workshop, your go-to for pulsating designs at unbeatable prices. Need a logo or a promo? Get yours for just $5. Want a full racing scheme that stands out? $15 will get you one of those. Contact RevLimit Workshop on X to get your premium custom scheme today. So White leads Phillips, Abbott, Holmes, and Coonan. Where did Trey Holmes come from, you might ask? Well, he's been saving those tires, and now they're coming into play for him.
Yeah, it looks like Trey is the one driver that's faster than William right now, and he's not as far behind as I thought he might be with as much of the field that he had to get back past to make it back to, I guess, 5th now.
So as we're approaching the halfway point here, do you think that trigger lap is 45? Once drivers finish the halfway point, they opt to come down pit road. Of course, there is nothing up for grabs for the halfway bonus in this series compared to what you see in the Cup Series and whatnot. But do you guys think 45 and we'll start seeing the floodgates open?
I think we're going to see people pit before 45, 43 maybe, or 44, just because making it to 45 is going to take a little extra saving, and I don't know that people notice that until it might have been too late. But for 45 at this point is definitely the goal, I think.
Yeah, most are probably going to try to stretch this to as close as they get to the halfway marker of the race, just so they can try to do it on one stop. Michigan being notoriously green for all elite events kind of leads all drivers to, well, it should lead all drivers to try and save their stuff towards the halfway mark and just make it on a one stop.
And just to touch on the point you made about this race being notoriously clean in the Elite Racing League, last season when we came here to Michigan, it was a race that was 10 laps shorter at just 80 laps, but we only had one caution. So definitely interesting here is Thomas Coonan, guys, going to be the first of our top 10 cars to come down pit lane in that number 68 RevLimit Workshop Saab, as he's going to head to the attention of his pit crew. We'll see if anyone else follows suit. Of course, William White still out front of the field. I don't think he's coming down probably for another 2 laps or so. I'd say lap 46 is when we'll see that 43 come down pit road. Once he's officially cleared the halfway point, that means he'll lock down the most laps led bonus point, as JP Phillips going to pit from the 2nd position. And the floodgates have opened. Gavin Higgins down pit road, Ray Bracey, Cale Pocock, Frank Fody, Andrew Rucker, Jaden Rasimas, Dave Carpenter, Dominic Wright, Neil Rutt coming down pit road as well, Mitch Javier. Very, very busy area. Austin Sally coming down pit road, Shea Mitchell as well. As we'll jump back to William White. He's either going to come down Yeah, here he comes right now. Your race leader, William White, has made the decision. Here he comes to pit road. Corey Abbott going to follow. Trey Holmes coming down as well. Here comes Andrew Hardcastle, Harrison Talon, Michael Hosick, Jeff Ryan, Justin Vandermarl. As Tommy Ryan goes for a slide, Dusty Dewar pits as well. David Westergreen, Connor Thompson, and Sam Boutwell. Dave Huckleberry is going to stay out. Caleb Pecumer going to take over the race lead. Guys, I'm just going to say it right now. I kind of hope Caleb comes down this lap and Dave doesn't, so we can see a lap led under green for Dave Huckleberry in Elite Racing League competition. We'll see what happens, though.
It looks like Austin Inabit had missed pit entry on his previous lap trying to come down pit road and ran out of gas coming back around. But he did make it to a stall, so he is receiving service now.
So Caleb Pecumer down pit lane. Dave Huckleberry. No, Dave, stay out another lap. Oh, he's coming down. So he will not lead a lap under green flag yet. But that will complete the pit cycle completely as William White goes by his BOR Motorsports driver, Shay Mitchell. Put Shay one lap down. William White back to the race lead. And we're going to step away for a quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll take you through the middle portions of today's Michigan 180. It's the RevLimit Workshop Development Series presented by PitPassNetwork.com right here on the Elite Racing Network. Don't go anywhere.
Of sellout crowds, 3 years of edge-of-your-seat action, 3 years of jaw-dropping finishes. Worldwide Technology Raceway has rocked the world of NASCAR, and now NASCAR is giving us another reason to celebrate. The 2025 NASCAR Cup Series Championship playoffs are coming Sunday, September 7th, 2025. Just when you thought the racing couldn't get any more intense, now every single lap matters. One wrong move could be the difference between elimination and being crowned the king. The Enjoy Illinois 300, the Confluence Music Festival, the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs, and for the first time in 15 years, the NASCAR Xfinity Series on Saturday, September 6th. Don't be on the outside looking in. See history being made in your own backyard. Go to www.raceway.com for the hottest ticket of the year.
And we're back here at the Michigan International Speedway. You just heard from Worldwide Technology Raceway and Whiplash SimCams, two of our partners here at the Elite Racing League. Another great partner that we have here is Blue Egg Marketing. Rev up your business with Blue Egg, your marketing pit crew. Turbocharge your lead generation with experienced drivers that can navigate the competitive track to connecting with your customers. With Blue Egg, you're always in the pole position, leading your brand toward victory lane. Don't spin your wheels, accelerate success with Blue Egg, fueling small businesses to win big. And of course, 40racewear.com, makers of the ultimate sim racing shoes and custom apparel designed for sim racing by sim racers. 40 sim racing shoes are custom engineered to connect racers to the pedals in a way no other racing shoe can, while still providing all the comfort needed for those double and triple stints. Daytona coming up soon. Elite 6 Hour coming up as well. Grab some 40 Racewear merch and check them out, 40racewear.com today, and check out the original racing gloves for your feet. Back down on the racetrack, William White leads, JP Phillips, Thomas Coonan, Corey Abbott, and Gavin Higgins, the top 5. Josh Clark, Trey Holmes, Brent Jones, Ray Bracey, Michael Hosick, the top 10. As you see an update there from Race Control. Tally issued to the 57 of Dylan Javier for contact on pit road with the 1 of Harrison Talon, causing heavy damage to the 32 of Dustin Dewar during that pit cycle. Dusty appears to be out of today's race. As I'm getting a text message from league owner Chad Frankenfield telling me to throw a fun flag. Chad, we don't do fun flags, sir. That is a road course gimmick, not a Michigan International Speedway staple.
With the way that this is going, I'm afraid a yellow is the only way that someone's going to be able to even have a shot at William here. JP in second did the 1 lap undercut and didn't really gain enough time to close up anything on Will.
He lost,
and now he's on the lap with tires.
He's 3 seconds back now. He was, what, a second and a half at the time of the pits? So JP Phillips has actually lost ground to William White, and that's not what you want to do. As you look at the lap time difference over that last couple of laps, JP Phillips was quicker on lap number 50 by a 1/10 of a second, and then William backed it up 3/10, nearly 4/10 quicker, then 2.5 tenths, and then a 1/2 tenth just 1 lap ago. So continuing to stretch that gap between William White and JP Phillips, as just taking a quick gander through the field, looking for some tight battles, and looks like we might have some back here around Ray Bracey, Trey Holmes, Michael Hosick and company, and then Andrew Hardcastle and Brent Jones closing up as well.
Yeah, the one thing that might work in JP's favor right now is that he's not right on Williams' bumper, so he doesn't necessarily feel the same pressure to match his pace right now. So it may be easier for him mentally to keep his pace in check and save tire a bit better and hopefully make it up later in the run.
"35 laps to go here," as we see Dylan Javier going a lap down to the top 10 drivers. Unfortunate for Dylan, he was having a really good run earlier on, just not going to pay off for him today, as we see a very tight battle between Ray Bracey and Michael Hosick. Hosick and Bracey were leaning on each other just a little bit there as they worked their way through turns number 1 and 2. They're trying to hold off Andrew Hardcastle, who has cleared Trey Holmes. Justin Vandermarl just outside the top 10 now, so Vandermarl on his way forward. As just a quick note, your biggest mover of the race so far is a 2-way tie between Josh Clark and Tommy Ryan. That tiebreaker on the biggest mover would go to Josh Clark as the highest position. Clark currently sitting in 5th, Ryan in 15th, as Dylan Javier has come down pit road once again. Gotta wonder potentially if he's gonna call it a night or if he has some damage from that pit road incident.
Yeah, his right front and left front were both kind of caved in after that incident on pit road. So he's probably coming in to try to make repairs.
The problem Josh Clark is going to have with holding on to that biggest mover is that he cannot make it to the end on gas. He pit 8-ish laps before everyone else. So he needs a yellow before the end of this race, or he is going to be in a very bad place.
Well, seeing as the field has spread out a little bit, let's do a fan favorite segment here, and we're going to go ahead and crank it up. And we're back here at the Michigan International Speedway, coming to 30 to go. Next time by, we're going to do something that we rarely do. We're going to pull a driver in under green. Hey, William White, it's the guys up in the booth. You get a copy.
Yes, sir, I do. Hello.
We never do this, but we figure you need a little bit of a handicap out there. So we'll talk to you under green flag conditions. How's the race feeling so far? And why is that University of Chichester number 43 machine so fast?
I don't know. It's probably not got much to do with the guy behind the wheel of it, but it's ran pretty well so far, these first 2/3 of the race. But since about lap, I want to say like lap 25, lap 30, it's been a fuel mileage race. The entire first stint, for about the latter half of it, up until I came to the pits, I was clutching the whole way. And even now, my fuel calculator is kind of pinging between making it and maybe making it. I'm fairly confident I'll make it. I'm about nearly a lap to the good, but I want some fuel for burnouts at the end if hopefully this stays green. But done it well enough to save the tyres, used the clean air to my advantage that JP and the like behind me didn't have the luxury of. And managed, thankfully, to pull a gap where I can now save a bit of tyre and a bit of fuel towards the end.
Now, what is it about this Michigan International Speedway that is just working so well tonight?
Honestly, the track just drives really nice. It rewards aggression, which I really like, but also it punishes you if on a long run you bite off more than you can chew. So it'll punish you if you push it too hard, and I think respecting that is the key thing. It rewards adaptability. You probably saw me trying all sorts of different lines through all the different corners. There's Carl Hanshaw in front of me. Trying all different lines through all the different corners, just seeing what works, what doesn't, and eventually I've kind of found a formula just above the seam 1 and 2, run the line 3 and 4, and that seemed to work pretty well.
Guys, any questions for our race leader, William White?
Yeah, I don't got anything other than it looks like he's going to get pretty busy here in a couple seconds, so I'd probably give him some time to focus.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about Austin behind me. If he wants to go by me, I've told him if he wants to go by me, he can. I'm saving fuel, so he's not my fight. I'm not his, so as long as he doesn't wreck me, he can do whatever the hell he wants.
Yeah, I'm just hoping you see a yellow before the end.
I really don't. Don't curse me like that, Alayton.
Chad actually wanted us to throw a fun flag, and we kind of had to decline that one on him.
Oh, Chad. You and your bloody fun flags.
Well, Will, since your chances look very slim of making it onto the podium here tonight, any sponsors you want to thank, shout-outs you want to give?
Yeah, obviously shouting out University of Chichester, like always, hanging with them since September. They're a good bunch, all the friends and family back home, mum, my dad, my girlfriend Holly as well, very supportive as well. You guys up in the broadcast booth, all the other motorsports crew, Brent, Thomas, Corey, Andrew, Dom as well, all the BOR guys. Shay is our sole runner tonight, but he's still doing good in 32nd, I believe it is. So, yeah, a lot of people to thank, and hopefully try and get a record tonight. No one's done 4 in a row before, but we're looking good.
All right, best of luck to you, Will, and we'll see if we talk to you at the end of this one.
We will see. Thank you very much.
And that is your race leader, William White, currently leading the way. And like I said, guys, we rarely ever talk to a driver under green flag conditions, but you know, when you're having such a dominant season, even the broadcasters have to throw a bit of a wrench in it as we come to 25 to go. The ticker changes over. Shout out Alexander Ned. That's one of his favorite moments. One of our old colleagues here at the Elite Racing Network. But so far, so good here at Michigan.
Yeah, something we should probably maybe try out at some of the upper series to see how some of those guys can handle running around the track and talking to the broadcast crew at the same time.
Yeah, that's definitely something that I would not be able to do. As soon as I press that transmit button, my chances of making a mistake dramatically increase.
Now, I do kind of wonder one thing here. Tommy Ryan was very quick in practice. He was top 5 there in practice, had a terrible qualifying run, and has now been the hardest charger of the race so far. Brent Jones, by the way, coming down pit road, he was on one of those off strategies, so we'll see if anyone else has to follow suit with him. But Tommy Ryan moving his way up through the field. I really wonder if we'd be talking about a different storyline in this race had Tommy qualified better.
Potentially. The draft here does play some weird games sometimes, especially with like the aero walks and pushes. But I think if he was up a little bit further, he probably would be on the start. He would probably be up a little bit further in the race right now as well.
Yeah, those what ifs are always hard to know what would happen. He's matching Will's pace right now, but if Will is also still fuel saving a bit, then that could be the difference there. They did pit on the same lap, so as far as fuel is concerned, they'd be on even footing.
So 22 laps remaining. Of course, coming up here, we might as well go through what we got going on in the Elite Racing Network. Going to be a busy couple of weeks here coming up. Of course, tonight we're here in the RevLimit Workshop Development Series. Then tomorrow night, we're going to hit it with the Cup car, the Belly Up Sports Cup Series, live from the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Thursday night, we'll take the Warriors for Peace IndyCar Series to Worldwide Technology Raceway for their championship night. I think there's 7 guys still in mathematical contention for that one, so be sure to tune in. Gary Godso and company will have the broadcast for that. Then Sunday, we're back with the Stay Tuned Sports Truck Series from Nashville Super Speedway. Monday night next week at Richmond in the Design Ping 150 with the Robiles Photography Grand National Series. And of course, a couple special events coming up in the Elite Racing League, including our version of the Snowball Derby. That's going to be coming up in 2 weeks' time. We'll have preliminaries on the Tuesday night and then the big dance on Thursday. Myself and Alexander Balderas will have all the coverage of those events. And of course, the Elite 6 Hour is coming up as well. I believe it's at Spa. Correct me if I'm wrong, Alayton.
I think that's at Le Mans.
Or Le Mans. That's it. Yes, not Spa. It should be at Spa. Spa's a cool track, but Chad doesn't like it, so we're going to Le Mans.
Yeah, towards the front, we did have Corey Abbott make a pass on JP Phillips a few laps ago. So something's happening in the race.
Yeah, finally. Sometimes you get these races and things just really stretch out and not much is going on. But Corey Abbott, like you said, did get by JP Phillips. Now Corey trying to get by Dave Huckleberry. Still almost 4 seconds behind William White. So not really going to have much to say unless we do see that elusive yellow flag here at some point, which is not out of the question as of yet, not out of the realm of possibilities. As we see a little bit of a battle here. Finally, something going on. That's all behind Trey Holmes, Jeff Ryan, Justin Vandermarl, and Brent Jones, the lap car in that fight as well. Of course, Brent Jones on fresh tires, so just looking for a way to get by these guys and maybe race his way back onto the lead lap, as nobody else really doing too much here in regards to battles. It's really single filed all throughout the field, guys. Nobody doing much.
We did almost have a yellow with Austin and Abnett pushing up into Kyle Hanshaw. He got sideways in the corner, but saved it, and we stayed green.
So, Jesse, obviously you weren't with us last week. Did you take some driving lessons this week?
No, I did not. Yeah. Honestly, it wasn't even my fault. It was just
It was the road.
a fluke.
It was the road's fault. I've driven on those Pennsylvania roads. They're not great.
But yeah, up in the mountain, they just had a big snowstorm, so the ground was just really soft, and
That they
I
did.
kind of buried a bucket truck in the mud.
That they did. I was down there a couple days prior to you getting that truck stuck in the mud, and it was essentially a blizzard up in the mountains. Couldn't really see much. Could hardly see the car ahead of me, so you just follow those taillights and away you go. But yeah, a rough couple of days, and a lot of people seeing quite a bit of snow here recently. There's some places in Ontario, the province where I live here in Canada, they got 6 feet in just a couple of hours. It's pretty wild. Watertown, New York got the same thing as well.
Yeah, I think there were some parts of New York that it was right around a little over a 3.5 foot mark, I think, is where a lot of New York people ended up getting snow.
Yeah, that's crazy.
We got lucky. We only had maybe like 8 to 10 inches total. Our problem was the next couple of days it was above average temp, so snow melt and then just made the ground super soft.
Yeah, that's it's definitely not fun. We're gonna get our first winter storm of the season tomorrow here, so looking forward to that. Sarcastically. 14 to go. William White leads the way over Corey Abbott, JP Phillips, Thomas Kunin, and Michael Hosick. The top 5, Andrew Hardcastle in 6, Josh Clark, Gavin Higgins, Trey Holmes, and Jeff Ryan round out the rest of your top 10.
Yeah, one thing I'm pretty impressed with right now is how well Josh Clark is holding on to the position that he does have, because he did come in early. He's on 8 to 9 lap older tires than that whole cluster of cars right behind him. So I would have thought that he'd have fallen back further by now, but he's still there. He's still hoping for that yellow, because he's got about 5 to 6 more laps before he has to come back down pit road.
That was pretty interesting what I just seen there. I seen Vandermarl actually come up and give a bump draft to Trey Holmes and didn't get Trey squirrely. So I don't know if they change any of the physics on the car or what might have happened. But normally, if you try that,
okay.
Yeah, normally it would just lift the rear end of the car in front of you.
Yeah, it's all about how you position it. And guys, I think this could get sketchy here in a moment, as Josh Clark, of course, like Alayton mentioned, 9 lap older tires. You got some guys on the aggressive side trying to work their way up through the field as well around him. So I don't know, it could get a little close in these next couple of laps, as you see Tommy Ryan enter the top 10 for the first time tonight. He's up to the 9th position. Actually, he's battling for the 9th position with Josh Clark. Justin Vandermarl just up the road. Gavin Higgins just behind them here. Jeff Ryan there as well, is quickly approaching the 10 lap to go mark. Will going to come to 11 this time. 3.7 seconds ahead of his Abbott Motorsports teammate Corey Abbott, who holds on to that second spot. JP Phillips a couple of cars back in 3rd. Then it's Thomas Kunin, Michael Hosick, and Andrew Hardcastle. And, you know, Alayton, obviously, you're part of that Abbott Motorsports group. I'm affiliated with them as well on the driving side of things. I'm impressed by what the group's done tonight. William White leads the way. Corey Abbott's 2nd. Thomas Kunin, one of the affiliated cars, in 4th. And then Andrew Hardcastle there in the 6th spot. So some really strong runs so far.
Yeah, the guys are really putting together a solid race here. I mean, obviously Will has a solid season going so far, but Corey's had some rough luck, especially in week 1 at Charlotte, and Andrew seems to have something come up that goes wrong pretty frequently. So I imagine he is very much looking forward to a solid top 10, if not even a top 5. I'm not sure how he's doing in relation to Michael Hossack here.
Just under a second separating those guys, and Andrew Hardcastle has been quicker by a tenth or more in each of the last 5 laps. So Andrew Hardcastle on pace to pass Michael Hossack and maybe get a top 5, as Josh Osborne, one of the Lake Norman Motorsports drivers, has opted to come down pit lane. He's going to pit from the 34th position. Josh Clark coming down pit road as well for Pro Edge. So a couple of those guys on the off strategy, unfortunately, a bit further off than they would have liked.
Yeah, maybe what we need to do is mandate that we'll make an extra pit stop every week until he loses. Have him go for the off strategy of a 2-stop race.
We'll start him 3 laps down in the race, see what he can do. As Josh Osborne exits pit road, there you saw him on the inside of the Corey Abbott machine. We're going to watch the battle that's about to heat up between Michael Hossack and Andrew Hardcastle. It's less than half a second now between the two of them, as Andrew going to get that run down the back stretch. There's a battle behind as well. That's Fueled Up Racing teammates in Trey Holmes and Justin Vandermarl. Behind them, Tommy Ryan and neighbor Pete Man, Gavin Higgins. They're duking it out for spots as well. Oh, there we go. Mark Robilas has actually given us an update to something that Jesse pointed out. And Mark says they changed the bump trap physics of this car, so it's a viable option now. There you go. So you can bump trap now in this ARCA car.
Yeah,
That was a change they made a couple seasons ago, around the time that they were talking about the new Gen 4 scans and all of that.
Yeah, I just know previously from running these last season for the little bit that I did run. Or no, it was 2 seasons ago actually.
Yeah, you've been out a while.
But yeah, it was just the speed that Vandermarl had going up to Trey Holmes when he hit him. That should have definitely lifted his rear end up with the older style physics. So it's nice to see that they did change it, because that was always one drawback, especially at the super speedway races.
Yeah, it's nice, and you know, Alayton mentioned it there, the Gen 4 bodies. Those are coming out in the new year sometime. So next season of the RevLimit Workshop Development Series presented by Pit Pass Network, we'll most likely see those new generation bodies on board these cars, and that's going to be completely different than what we've seen in all seasons of ARCA competition here in the Elite Racing League. I believe this is season number 6 since we started running it. That goes all the way back to 2023A. So no, this is season 5. 2023A, we kicked it off. Of course, Elite did have 2 previous iterations of ARCA competition. That was the Elite ARCA Series and the Mrs. Goody's Dash Series in 2022 and 2021, respectively. Those were shorter exhibition type series. And of course, this one is a great development option for these drivers. 4 to go for a guy that has developed from a participant to a winner since the start of this series. He kind of went from that guy that everyone thought was very capable of winning, and then he got the first one at Charlotte, then the second one at Charlotte, got one last week as well, and just continues to dominate this series no matter what type of racetrack. You know, we've had an intermediate track with the Charlotte Oval, we've had the road course with the Roval, we've had the Super Speedway at Atlanta, and now here at Michigan as well. Pretty impressive. And of course, next week is the final race before the holiday break. We're going to head to Watkins Glen for a 60-minute timed race. So we'll see how that one goes. I'd expect William White to be a main contender there once again.
Yeah, at this point, I don't think you can count William out no matter what track we're going to. I really do not want to see him win every race this season. I don't think that'll happen, but I really don't want it to.
If he gets to a commanding lead, which of course I believe he will, we might have to throw a couple quirks his way and some curveballs and see what we can do. As William White gonna head down the back straightaway next time by. Actually, this time by, he will see the 1 to go signal presented by Whiplash Sim Cams. It's absolute dominance so far this season for the driver of the number 43 University of Chichester machine, as he does come off of turn number 4. White flag in the air, brought to you by Whiplash Sim Cams. It's the Whiplash Sim Cams white flag here on the Elite Racing Network in the RevLimit Workshop Development Series presented by Pit Pass Network. We're going to go caution free tonight, and that's a good thing. It's really cool to see as White heads down the backstretch for the final time towards turns number 3 and 4. He's currently trailing the lap car just up the road of Josh Osborne, but it's not gonna matter as he comes through 3 and 4 for the final time. Off of turn number 4, he's gonna go 4 for 4. It's a new record. It's Billy Blanco taking the checkered flag once again. Absolutely amazing what William White has done so far this season. Corey Abbott comes home second, JP Phillips third, Thomas Coonan fourth, Andrew Hardcastle rounds out the top 5, Trey Holmes, Justin Vandermarl, Tommy Ryan, Gavin Higgins, and Michael Hosick round out the top 10. We're going to step away real quick. When we come back, we'll talk to White, Abbott, and Phillips down in Victory Lane. We'll be right back on the Elite Racing Network. Don't go anywhere.
Since 2010, race fans have had one burning question. When will the Xfinity Series return to Worldwide Technology Raceway? You asked, NASCAR delivered. On Saturday, September 6, 2025, the magic is back. The track that launched the legendary careers of Harvick, Busch, Keselowski, Edwards, and Earnhardt Jr. is now ready to write that next chapter. We're going to introduce you to a new crop of future champions and Hall of Famers. And in the process, we'll create more of the greatest moments in racing history. NASCAR Weekend 2025, the NASCAR Cup Series Championship Playoffs, the Confluence Music Festival, and now 250 miles of the NASCAR Xfinity Series. 2 incredible races, 1 challenging track, a 3-day party of epic proportions. Go to www.raceway.com and lock in your weekend racing and camping packages for as little as $20 down.
And we are back here at the Michigan International Speedway. We're going to go ahead and throw it down now to Alayton Norgard, who is going to be joined here by our third place finisher here tonight, JP Phillips.
JP, Alayton up here in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, Alayton, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How was obviously it was a long race for you guys with the green run all the way through. Always good to see that. You were my pick for the win tonight. Is there anything that you think you could have done differently to make up that difference between you and Will?
The crew chief needed to be a little more creative back there in the fuel cell. I think I was fast enough really to run with Will because the first 20 laps we were pretty good, but from then on I was saving fuel just to make it. I ran 2/10 off the pace the whole last run just to stretch it far enough to get there, and ran out as I was crossing the start finish line. So just needed a little more fuel. Not sure that I could have beat him, but I think I could have ran with him tonight.
Yeah, we had actually pulled him up for an interview during the race, and he said that he had been saving the second half of that first run just to make it long enough. Drawing a complete blank all of a sudden.
But it was a lot. It was a lot of fun. I mean, getting a run green like that is good. Of course, I had a buffer there the last half of the race, a couple seconds in front of me, and I think there was 5 seconds or something behind me. And they said I was just running to a pace. But it's good to run green like that. Good to get some laps in, and we'll keep chasing Will there and see if we can't get him here one of these races. I think it's 4 in a row now, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's a record for at least for Elite ARCA, maybe for other ARCA, Elite series as well. Not sure on that at the moment, but yeah, thanks for digging me out of that hole, by the way.
Yeah. Not a problem.
You got any sponsors you want to thank, shout outs to give?
Just a shout out to Tommy and Jeff Ryan. I like running with those guys. To all the guys that ran the race tonight, they really was a good race, and everybody did a good job there. And of course, for you guys, Robert and Jesse, you guys put on a great show. Alayton, you've been filling in pretty good, so I always like listening to the broadcast after the fact. So appreciate it, and like I said, we'll go chase William again next week.
All right. Well, good to see you back on the podium, and look forward to seeing you next week.
All right. Thanks, guys. Have a good evening.
That was JP Phillips, your third place driver here tonight. I'm now joined by Corey Abbott, the runner-up this evening. Corey, what do you need to do to beat your own driver who's gone 4 for 4 on this 2025A RevLimit Workshop Development Series presented by Pit Pass Network?
I guess what I really need, what I lacked tonight, was the early run speed. That's what set me back so far early on. I had the long run pace. I feel like it's just at that point, then you're pushing more to try and close the gap, and then you burn your stuff, and then you lose the advantage you had. I can't take anything away from Will. He's been on a rocket ship so far. That's 4 in a row. He's kicked our butts in. It doesn't matter where we go. He's just been fast as a bullet. So
now walk us through your night here tonight. It was rather uneventful, really, for everybody, as we didn't get any cautions, no real incidents out there on the racetrack. But what was the night like behind the wheel of that number 21 car?
Yeah, like you said, it was pretty uneventful. We fell back. I think it was to like 6th or 7th there early on. I really thought the guys around me were driving too hard. So I was a little surprised when the tires didn't fall off as much as I thought, with how much it didn't really rotate in the corners. So I had to fight to get back up to 3rd. And then at that point, it was just save fuel as much as you can. Go as long as you can before you pit. At that point, it was just a number crunch, figuring out when you can go. And then once I figured out I could go, it was just hammer down, watch the number, make sure you're not, burning too much fuel. Got a little unlucky with lap traffic, but I think with like 20 to go, I was making maybe at my best 1 or 2 tenths a second on Will and he was 4 seconds up the road, 3 seconds. It wasn't going to happen. Just had to see what I could get.
Well, Corey, before we let you go here tonight, next week we're headed to Watkins Glen. That's a racetrack I think you've run pretty well at in the past. What's your outlook for that one? Do you think maybe that's a track that you could beat that 43 car?
No, honestly, no, not really. No, Will's so good at road courses. I'm close. I don't think I'll have anything for Will. He usually dusts me on road courses, and especially with it being the Glen, it's that one road course everyone kind of knows pretty well. So I think the competition level is going to be upped a little bit than when we go to Coda or Sonoma or any of those other road courses.
Well, before we let you go, any shout outs you want to give, sponsors you want to thank for putting the 21 car on the racetrack each and every week?
Oh, I got to thank you guys. Put on a great broadcast. If it wasn't for your broadcast, probably wouldn't have the team. Probably wouldn't. I don't want to say we wouldn't be in a league, but I think things would be a lot different without you guys. You guys do a lot for us in the league. I got to thank everybody at Abbott. You two are huge supporters. You help me out a lot. Will, Thomas Coonan's new this year. Glad to have him on. Brent Jones, Andrew Hardcastle, all of our sponsors, Infinity Design, CA Graphics, Jimmy Hayden Photography. If you need a photographer and you're in the New York area, he's your man. Take some great photos. I think that about does it.
Well, Corey, congratulations on the solid run here tonight. The win as a team owner, at least. And we'll see you next week at Watkins Glen.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
That's Corey Abbott, your runner-up here tonight. And Jesse is now standing by in winner's circle with Mr. Four-Time, the second winningest driver in ARCA Series, just one behind Alayton Norgard, and the driver with the most laps led in Series history as well. It's William White.
Hey, William, Jesse up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir, I do.
Hey, so I know we pulled you up there mid-race and you kind of talked to us a little bit, but you got to tell us, you got like Harry Hogg down there in the pit box for you this season, or what's going on there?
Yeah, I don't know. Gavin Hibbs said in my Twitch chat to go and inspect the car, lift the hood up, see what I've got under there. I didn't put anything in there. Whether my virtual pit crew did, I can't confirm nor deny, but 43 car definitely a rip today.
Yeah, you definitely been on a ripper here. The 4 in a row. Granted, one of them was a road course, but I mean, just on these ovals, I mean, you picked up so much pace, and you're just kind of walking away from everyone. So tell us a little bit about what's going on there. Like, what's driving you to just run up front all the time now?
I mean, I'm definitely very comfortable in the ARCA car. It's probably my favorite stock car. One I feel most confident to perform in. I feel like I can hang with pretty much anyone on the service in this thing, but I think just committing to that consistent practice of running laps. I run a lot of laps for this race, mainly because I really enjoyed the combo, but also because I'm on a hot streak. I want to see how long I can keep it up. And I found myself in a championship fight for the first time in really about a year and a half here in Elite. So it's definitely a refreshing feeling, and I want to see if I can carry it all the way. But yeah, just building good habits of consistent practice, valuable practice that hopefully I'll try and carry into the upper series, trucks and Grand National specifically for 25A in those seasons.
Yeah, we were throwing around a couple of ideas here to try and throw some wrenches in your season. And I think one that I kind of came up with, maybe for 4-time winners, we should add like 100-pound weight penalty and see what that does.
Maybe. It would definitely make the racing more interesting. The next one's a road course, so I think that would definitely hamper me somewhat having another 100 pounds of ballast. But yeah, no, flattering that you'd go to such lengths to try and stop me, I suppose. But yeah.
No, I mean, hey, you're on a really good run here. I mean, 4 back-to-back. I mean, it's awesome to see. And I mean, you definitely drive the wheels off of it. You can see that in every series that you run. So it's just nice to see somebody up at the front and being able to capture those wins. I just don't think the rest of the field here is appreciative of 4 wins at this point.
Definitely. Well, see if I can tack on a few more before season's end. But I'm definitely enjoying the momentum that I've got so far. And Watkins Glen next week is a track that I enjoy. So we'll see if 5 is possible, but I'll never be too confident about it. I want to curb my expectations.
Yeah, well, we'll see if you can keep the momentum going next week. So before we let you go, you got any sponsors, shout outs, anything you want to give out here?
Yeah, of course. University of Chichester, the Chai Challengers, their esports program I've been with since September. They're a good bunch to hang out with. Family at home, mum, dad, all my friends. My girlfriend Holly as well. She's super supportive of all of this, and it's really awesome to have that sort of backing behind you. Almost gives you an extra 100 horsepower. All the Abbott Motorsports crew as well, Alayton, Robert, who are also the broadcast team tonight, as well as you, Jesse, race control, and commentary. I had Corey, Dom, Brent, Andrew in there. Shay, our sole BOR driver from tonight as well. Good bunch to hang out with. So, yeah, awesome. We've also got 1, 2, 4, 5, I think, between myself, Corey, Thomas, and Andrew, which was awesome to see. So, yeah, got a good bunch to work with. Definitely makes it a little bit easier.
Yeah, it's like I said, good luck next week, and let's see if you keep that going for the rest of the season, and you should be lined up pretty good for the championship by this point. So, yeah, awesome run, and can't take anything away from you on that one.
That's it. Thank you very much.
And that is Mr. Four-time William White getting it done once again, gentlemen. Let's go ahead and get some final thoughts from each of you. What do you think about tonight's festivities here at the Michigan International Speedway?
It was great to see a all-green race won by Winiam. I am going to be, what I'm most interested to see is after the holidays coming back to Oswego and seeing what Will can do on a dirt track.
Yeah, I forgot that dirt track was actually in there. That's another doubleheader, isn't it? I think we're doing the Oswego Oval and then doing dirt right after. So yeah, that'll be an interesting night for sure. So, but yeah, I mean, like I said, Michigan has been one of the best run races in Elite in all the series. So, flag to flag, I mean, it was awesome to see. We only had one minor incident on pit road, a couple guys beating down the wall, but that's kind of typical for Michigan if you try to push it too hard. So it was a nice race to see, and yeah, hopefully Watkins Glen we don't have any problems next week.
Definitely going to be interesting to see how that one goes. Of course, that is the final race before the Christmas break, coming at you next Tuesday night and the Watkins Glen Raceway. Looking forward to having you all join us for that one. But on behalf of Jesse Rasimas, Alayton Norgard, Chad Frankville, David Huckleberry, and all the admins here at the Elite Racing League, we want to thank RevLimit Workshop, PitPassNetwork.com, Blue Egg Marketing, as well as all of our other great partners, Worldwide Technology Raceway and 4D Racewear, for all of their support all season long. We'll see you next Tuesday night and tomorrow night, of course, with the Cup Series right here on the Elite Racing Network. Have a good night, everybody.